Hi guys, so welcome to our JoJo makeup tutorial. This is a general JoJo makeup tutorial based on the anime, so not the manga and not a specific person. But if you do want a makeup tutorial on like a specific person like Jolene or Hot Pants, please let me know. First, we start off by blocking our brows. We can do this by using our school glue. Usually they use the purple one because it'll dry down clear. So when you use this, you go against the grain of your eyebrow hair. That way you can coat everything in the glue. Then you get a clean spoolie and brush it up. So the way I do it is I twist and push. That way it'll lay really flat against your skin. So again, you get a clean spoolie and twist and push and twist and push. Then you let it dry down clear, and you want to do this a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times. That way it will really make sure that your eyebrows are laid flat against your head. Also, if you have a spatula or if you don't, you can use your palm or the back end of the spoolie to really press it against your forehead. Then you get a color corrector. For me, I use a dark and light peach one. The dark peach one covers the blackness of my eyebrows, and the light peach one helps it blend seamlessly into the concealer and the foundation that I'll use later on down the line. So you take a brush that's good for concealer or makeup sponge, and you just tap it into your skin. You don't want to swipe, you want to tap it. When you're done, you take your setting powder and liberally put it all over your setting puff and press it against your forehead. What we're doing here now is called baking. So it'll really set the concealer and let it stay. That way it won't budge at all. Once you've let it rest on your skin for 15 to 20 minutes, you take a big fluffy brush and just brush it off. Then you're left with a blank canvas. Now we're gonna prime our face. I recommend that if you're gonna go to a photo shoot or a convention for the whole day, use a really grippy primer. And make sure you let it dry down till it's tacky, so that it doesn't mix with your foundation, and that way it'll really stay on the whole day. Then you put on your foundation. The way I do it as an oily person is that I use a spatula. If you don't have a spatula, you could use your fingers and just swipe it across my face. And then when I'm done, I take a foundation brush and just really pat it into my skin. Now take a concealer that's closest to your foundation shade and use the brush or the sponge that you used earlier to blend it into your foundation. Now take a thin eyebrow brush and dip it into this neutral brown shade. What we're doing here is drawing on the eyelid crease in the anime. What we're doing here is just to make it look like there's depth, so you just don't draw a line. That way it really makes your makeup pop and it looks nice in photos or in conventions. Make sure you do the same with the lower lid. Again, we're just adding dimension and giving it that sunken in dramatic eye look that the JoJo style has. Now take your contour and start from the hollows of your nose and bring it down to the bridge. And when you're done, you take your brush and you just pat it in. That way it doesn't lift the product inside, and it really gives a soft gradient that isn't too harsh or too painful to look at. You also want to contour the bottom of your nose. And again, just go in with the contour to really deepen the color. Now take an eyebrow brush or eyebrow pencil and draw the eyebrows. I'm using a dark brown color. I'm starting from the beginning or the start of my brows, dragging it upwards diagonally, and when I get midway to my actual brows, I drag it horizontally. That way it looks like it's the frown in the anime. I'm also adding dimension by getting a darker brown color and coloring the bottom half of the brows. Now I'm just thickening the eyelid that we drew earlier. That way it'll really give a nice dimension or a nicer depth to the makeup. Again, take your contour and draw underneath your chin to make that chin contour. Then we're going to be contouring the cheeks. You start from the corner of your eye and drag it outward to the middle of the cheek. Then take a deeper shade of contour and drag it inwards towards your chin. As you can see here, I don't completely fill out the rest of my cheek that way, because when you blend it out, it doesn't look too dark and it will blend seamlessly together. So as you can see here, it's blending together well, and at the bottom half of my cheek, it will look like there's some depth and highlight to it. That's because I didn't color in my entire lower half of my face or lower half of my cheek. Then you take a white gel eyeliner to line your lower waterline. I recommend taking a cotton bud to dry it first, but if you're like me and you don't have it, you just take 2 gel liners or just layer that same gel liner over each other. Now we're going to highlight the higher parts of our face. So take 5 shades of concealer. Make sure a lot of them are light. That way it will really highlight our face. So yeah. Once you lay them all on a palette or a surface, take the lightest color that you have and start from the corner of your eye and drag it out. Then take the next lightest color of your concealer. What I'm doing here, I'm mixing 2 of them and start from the middle and drag it outwards. What we're doing here is making a gradient. So as you can see, there's a lot of subtle gradients in the anime, and that's what we're trying to mimic here. So just make sure to blend it together so it'll look a lot more seamless. Now I just took a concealer shade that's just a little bit lighter than my usual concealer shade, and I'm using that to blend in the rest of the lighter colors into the foundation. Again, take a lighter shade of your concealer and highlight underneath the brows. That way it'll make it pop and it'll make your brows look more dramatic. Now I'm taking a kind of light shade concealer and highlighting the border between the contour and my actual face. Then you just want to take that same color and blend it outwards so that way it'll melt into your foundation. Also do the same for your nose bridge, that way it'll make your nose pop. I'm also doing the same to the sides of my nose. Again, it'll make the contours that we're doing a lot more prominent. Now I'm taking the lightest color that I have and just highlighting the highlight that I made between the contour and my cheek. Make sure you also contour underneath the chin, so it'll really make, again, the makeup pop more. Now for the fun part, the frown. So I recommend you frown first and take a thin or small brush and just follow the natural frown lines that you have and just drag it a little upwards to exaggerate the features. So we really want to exaggerate this frown because a lot of the JoJo in the JoJo anime style really has that signature frown. So that's really what you want to emulate. Make sure you also do the crease between your brows to really sell that look. Again, go in with your concealer and highlight the top parts of the frown. If you're going to a con or to a photo shoot, make sure you set everything with a powder. So set your concealers with a light translucent powder and set your contours with a translucent powder. But it's better if you set the contours with a powder contour instead. So if you went a little overboard with the powder contour like me, you can take a blending puff and dip it into your concealer and just put a highlight between your jaw and your chin. Now we line our face. So take your black eyeliner, or if you don't have that, you can use black face paint, and you just basically copy the cell shading lines that are typically found in the JoJo style. Usually it's found in the darker or contoured areas of the face. That's because it'll really show or emulate that this part is shadowed or has shadow covering it. So draw lines along your nose, hatch lines along your nose, along your cheek, and do the same with the eyelids that we drew on earlier. And don't be afraid to play with the thinness and the thickness of the lines. That way it'll really copy the cell shading style of JoJo. Also, if you have hooded eyes like me, I recommend using a really thin eyeliner. Those lower lash liners that are found in C Beauty's cosmetic stores. You use that, especially if you're drawing above your eyelid. That way, when you close your eyes, or when you open your eyes rather, it won't leave that mark along the crease of your eyelid. Then take your lipstick to fill in your lips. If you have a certain character that has a certain colored lips, like for example, Jolene has green lips or Ansui has pink lips, you use that specific color. But if you don't, I recommend using a warmish brown or a reddish brown lipstick. That way it'll give your lips some dimension and it won't look too brown at the same time. I recommend using Issy. What I'm using here is Issy lip tint. That way it'll give the same color but it doesn't completely cover the natural tone of my lips. Then take a black eyeshadow or use an eyeliner that you never plan on using on your eyelids again because you want to avoid cross contamination. So what I'm doing here is using just a black eyeshadow and a really thin brush to line my lips. Then take white face paint and just put that highlight that's usually found on the lips. And there you have it. There's your finished JoJo makeup. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you want more, if you want a specific style like Arcane, or if you want a specific character makeup. So I hope you like it, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helped. Bye!